let us talk to a press photographer, Mr Tom Bowles, because once again the Just Stop Oil nutters are out in force today, back on the M25, back on the gantries, the police seemingly incapable of stopping them. But yesterday and the day before, for some reason, bizarrely, the police started arresting journalists, right? Even though they were being presented with actual cards, press cards, to prove that those people were working legitimately for the press, they were arrested and they were taken in handcuffs. Tom Bowles was one of them. Let's have a look at this.
Secure your camera for me, please. Sorry? Put it somewhere?
So what you do?
At the moment, you're under arrest.
So why? Can I just tell you? Okay, I'm a member of the press. Can I give you can I show you my press card? Sorry, officer, you can't arrest me. Because I'm here as a member of the press. I don't know what you mean by that.
Yeah, I need to confirm that. Yeah, you can be detained on section 1 of PACE. I'm in relation to damage. What? Criminal? Section 4, yep. Alright, my warrant number is PC2892.
I'm at the police station. You are currently detained.
I'm quite obviously a member of the press, you know, in the middle of the camera. It's a public place.
Listen, it's only a search.
Why are you searching me? Sorry, why?
For items in relation to damage.
He is trying to tell you.
Why are you handcuffing me if you're just searching me?
You have to hold your camera so it doesn't get damaged, so you don't drop it.
I'd quite like to keep hold of it myself.
Well, you're going to be put in handcuffs, so I don't want that to get damaged.
You can search me if you really want, but I don't really want to just give you my camera.
No, I appreciate that, but you're about to go in handcuffs, so the camera doesn't get damaged, you have me to take that off of you.
Probably don't have much choice, do I?
Not really, but we just don't damage the camera, mate.
I'm going to be on this.
What is wrong with these people? You know, these are the same police, right, who can't seem to stop the Just Stop Oil protesters from clambering up gantries day after day after day. Let's talk to Tom Bowles, who's the man you saw in that little piece of footage there. Tom, very good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm quite shocked at that, really. I saw it yesterday, and I was astonished because I couldn't quite hear what section of whatever law they were arresting you under. What were they claiming you had done wrong?
I think they eventually arrested us for suspicion for conspiracy to cause public nuisance.
I mean, it beggars belief, really. I mean, we criticise the police a lot on here, and we also know that there are some very good people in the police who do good jobs. But this seems to me to be Jobsworth United, doesn't it? Tell us what happened from sort of that point on, from when you were handcuffed, you were asked to put your camera down. What happened then?
I was handcuffed and then detained and searched. And then they handcuffed me behind my back, put me in a police car, drove me for about an hour to Stevenage Station, checked me in. Again, I was trying to emphasise the press card because it's important. The press card's an important. It's an important tool to have. In the same way that it's kind of, you know, I know that you described them as nutters. I don't describe them as nutters because I'm kind of. I'm not sort of pro them, but I'm not anti them in the same way that I wouldn't describe the police in an aggressive manner.
Yeah, well, I'm very anti them. That's why I call them nutters. But that's your privilege, Tom. You can call them whatever you want.
I work alongside both the police and the protesters, and I need to have a good working relationship with both sides.
Sure.
Otherwise, because
of course, no, I get that.
I don't want to end up in a situation like this where I'm arrested.
Yeah, but I mean, so far you've done all the right things, and you've still ended up being arrested.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was put in prison. I was checked in, and then
they actually put you in a cell.
I was put in a cell like it looks like on any TV or film. Did
they take your belt off you in case you decided to hang yourself?
Took my belt, took my shoes. They wanted to take my wedding ring as well, and I was like, actually, you know what? I'd rather you didn't. And they were saying, oh well, protesters sometimes do this, and I made it abundantly clear I wasn't a protester. They let me keep my wedding ring, which was decent of them. But then I was held in the cell and interviewed sort of till. I was held in the cell. Nothing much happened for a long time. I was eventually interviewed at about 10 o'clock at night. And then released at 1:30 in the morning, so I was held for about 13, 14 hours.
And presumably your car was back where they'd lifted you, was it?
Yeah, my car was just where it was. And
did they take you back to the car?
They did. Yeah, they did, which was a complete surprise to me. I wasn't expecting that because I've heard of other photographers that have been arrested and they've been sort of left in the lurch. And I was all sort of expecting it, and expecting to just have to get a cab and then take legal action afterwards.
Right. They've issued a statement to the press in which Chief Constable Charlie Hall says they recognise the concerns over freedom of the press following the recent arrest of journalists who were present at the scene. As a result, additional measures are now in place to ensure that legitimate media can do their job. Primarily, officers have been instructed to ensure they conduct full and thorough checks before making an arrest decision, as well as getting a final approval by a supervisor before making any arrests of anyone who is identifying themselves as press. I mean, the press card that you hold is, I would imagine, issued by the police, isn't it?
It is, yes. Issued by the Police Chiefs Council.
Yeah. So surely, I mean, if their argument is that, there might be some members of the non-legitimate press who are posing as members of the press, I get that. But if you've got a police-issued press card, then clearly you are not one of those people, and you should be left alone.
Well, absolutely, but also, that's something that I and other members of the press and other photographers push for. I'm more than happy to show the police my press card, and I try. A lot of police haven't seen press cards, and it's important to explain how it works. There is a number on the back. You phone it up. You don't have to give any details. You don't have to say who you are. You don't have to be police, and you give a reference number on the front, and you say, "I'm just checking the validity of this press card," and they go. Yes, it's valid till, and they give you a date. It's valid till. It takes like 5 seconds. And I've been in situations where police have questioned why I was there during COVID. When people weren't allowed to be out, I was out photographing, and stopped by the police, and they requested my proof, and I showed them my card, and I explained what had to happen. I need to use my card to get into Downing Street, to get the Conservative Party conference, the Labour Party conference. Stuff like that.
I mean, so what happens now? I mean, have you been given an assurance personally that this was a mistake? Because you ought to be given that. And if you haven't been given that, are you seeking it?
No, I've had no communication with Herts Police. I am taking legal action. I'm speaking to lawyers about this. I have to say the duty solicitor that I had was really, really good, and the first sort of friendly voice that I'd spoken to, sort of voice of reason. But it's passed on to a firm that are dealing with this that will take the case forward on my behalf. Because also, as well as being arrested, the police decided that there was reason enough to search my house. So
you're joking?
At 11 o'clock at night, 3 male police officers arrived at my house, and
while you were still in custody.
I was in custody. My wife, I was trying to get information to my wife, but obviously you can't because you're in prison.
That's ridiculous. That is outrageous, actually.
Three police officers arrived at my house at 11 o'clock at night and searched it.
And have you got kids?
Yeah, I've got a 14-year-old daughter. They were both, rightly concerned.
Of course. I would be absolutely hopping mad. I don't know how you're staying calm, Tom, to be honest. I'm really sorry about what's happened.
Thank you.
I'm going to hope that you get some kind of compensation. But, of course, the irony of all of that is that whatever compensation you do get will be paid for by the taxpayer. And this shows that the police in this region of the law are completely out of order. Completely out of order.
Yeah, I mean, the police just need to be educated. It's a very, very straightforward thing. And 99% of the interactions with police that I have are good. And, I know that you don't like the protesters, and I don't agree with all of their sort of tactics and stuff. And I know that there's sort of like comments about police offering protesters cups of tea and blankets and stuff. I've covered a lot of protests, a lot of other stuff as well, but a lot of protests. And I've never seen police offering cups of tea. What they do is that they...
Well, we've seen pictures of them offering bottles of water to them.
I haven't seen that. So,
well, I have.
So I'm just saying that I haven't. And one of the things that the police are in a tricky position because what they have to do is they have to go through a procedural-based thing before they can arrest or move people. And I agree with you, it takes too long and it's irritating. But it's a procedural thing. Which,
well, let me put it to you this way, Tom. If I'm standing watching a protester up a gantry and then I'm watching you taking the picture, I'm pretty sure who the criminal is and who the photographer is.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, it's not rocket science, is it?
No, it's not, and I agree with that.
No, absolutely. Well, listen, Tom, good luck with it. I'm sorry for what you went through. That's absolutely horrendous. Imagine having the police turn up at your house where your children and your family are living at 11:30 at night to search it because you've been taking pictures of a protest. I mean, what is going on? This is talkTV.